Live from the Pines, your favorite East Texas sport with an S on the end podcast. Coming at you live tonight with a little week 4 recap. I want to give a big shout out to our guys at Zilker Belts. Use discount code PINES936 for all online orders. Receive 20% off. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing great. Number one in the country, and Oklahoma got their ass beat. I can't ask for a better weekend.
It was actually a really good weekend. We got to enjoy some great college football. Got to be in DKR this weekend. Spent the weekend in Austin. So it was a win-win weekend for us guys.
The Fighting Billy Napiers won.
Somehow.
Yep, even though Trey picked against them. Maybe we need to keep doing that. But it was all right weekend, to say the most.
We'll get to that, Cole. We'll get to that. But all right. Let's start out with the game of the week, Oklahoma playing Tennessee. We talked about it last week. We all picked Tennessee. We thought this game wouldn't be relatively close, and it wasn't. 25-15 final score, but the score is not indicative of how that game actually went. Tennessee really controlled this game from start to finish. OU has a lot of problems offensively, to say the least. Jackson Arnold gets benched for Michael Hawkins. I think it was halfway through the first half. Throws one pick, fumbles the ball twice. Oklahoma has 100 yards of offense through 3 quarters. Tennessee, that front seven is for real. I just, it's weird watching OU, being a Texas fan for 27 years, watching OU be dominant on offense for so long, then seeing an offense like that. And I'm kind of lost for words to see Oklahoma play offense like that. But, hey, I told you it was going to be a blowout. It feels like a blowout. The score didn't show it, but congrats to the boys for going Tennessee minus 7.5, guys.
Yeah, it's probably my easiest bet of the week, to be honest. The one I put the most push-ups on, coins, whatever you want to say. But Oklahoma's offense did look pretty bad, but I think you got to give Tennessee's credit. Their defense is just really, really good, and their team overall. But I was coming into the week, like I said last week, I was ready to see what Jackson Arnold did versus that pressure, and he's kind of already had some turnover problems. But, it just went off the wall for him this week, and I didn't expect him to get benched like that. But I don't know what they do moving forward. They might stay with the guy for the second half. He at least moved the ball a little bit.
I don't know. Half the problem is I would say 75% of the problem is the offensive line. The offensive line is atrocious. They replaced the entire offensive line in the offseason. They have no cohesiveness. They have no unity amongst the offensive line. They got pushed around, couldn't really run the ball. The quarterbacks were under pressure the entire game, and when your offensive line is that bad, you're not going to have any success on offense. And it was actually heartwarming to watch.
Yeah, I think we all took Tennessee that game. We all got a win right there, but Tennessee's good. They're really good. They got a great defense. Offense is good. I think they lost their top ranked left tackle, but that's part of the season going on. You're going to lose guys, and their offense made different ways to keep the ball moving. Oklahoma, I'm not putting Josh Arnold out yet. I still think he's the guy.
Who?
Jackson Arnold. I think he's still the guy. I'm thinking of Josh Heupel the whole time. I think Jackson Arnold's still the guy. Like I said, we listened to a podcast on the way home from Austin, and like they said, he doesn't have any help. Offensive line's not blocking. It's nobody out there helping him. He fumbled the ball 3 times, I believe, and he threw a pick. But he watched the game, watched the film. He was under pressure all night long, and I don't agree with benching him. I don't think that's the right answer. I think he's your guy. I think you got to stick with him and roll with him. You lost what?
Totally disagree with you, Jack. If you watched Jackson Arnold in the bowl game last year and the couple of games leading up to this, Jackson Arnold is not the guy.
I think he
has awful decision making. He doesn't protect the ball. He doesn't get the ball out quickly. I hope he plays against Texas because Texas will win by at least 25 or 30 points.
Yeah,
he has talent though.
Like I was saying, he's a good quarterback. You can't take that away from him. I think
He doesn't look like a good quarterback.
I would say he has the potential to be, but I don't know if he's shown that.
I just think Oklahoma is just so shaky. Offensive line's horrible. It's kind of hard to do your job. It's kind of like Bryce Young. It's hard for you to perform when you're, running for your life every play.
He had a QBR of 1.3.
Yeah, Oklahoma ran the ball 34 times for 36 yards.
Yeah, that says a lot about our offensive line.
And it was 22-3, and then Tennessee could have. I mean, if they wanted to, they could have kept passing and passing and passing, and probably made this game like a 35-10 game, 42-10. I mean, when you see your opponent just inept and can't move the ball, I mean, it looked like they were just running clock to me.
Honestly, thought Heupel would keep his foot on the gas, just with the backstory there, and
I think
I'm sure he's got love for Oklahoma still, but
yeah,
I think to your point, Cole, I think it cuts both ways. You want Tennessee to look good, but you also, I mean, he played for OU, won a national title there. It's like, okay, we got this game. Let's just get this to 3-0 and walk out with the W. But I mean, Tennessee, I think Tennessee could win the national title.
No.
Yeah, they're definitely a contender.
They're a contender. I'm not saying they will, but I'm saying they could.
I think Nico's the real deal.
Nico is the real deal. They're good. I mean, they had a couple of big plays, but it was just the offensive line is terrible. Jackson Arnold is not good. He's not who pretty much everybody kind of thought that he was. He got away with it beforehand, but he just kind of got exposed this game. It just was not good. I mean,
he's had problems with turnovers since he's been the starting quarterback at OU with the picks. I mean, here you with the fumbles, and now he is totally unprotected behind a porous offensive line. It's going to get worse. They're going to play Texas. They're going to play LSU. They're going to play Ole Miss.
I mean, I think their defense.
They're really in danger of not making a bowl game.
They're going to play Bama and Georgia still too.
They don't.
They do.
They got to play Bama. They
play Georgia. They play Georgia November 16th. They play Alabama.
They do not play Georgia.
I got the schedule pulled up right in front of me.
Show me when they play Georgia.
They play Georgia November 16th.
No, they don't.
I'm looking at the schedule.
They go Auburn next, then Texas, then South Carolina, Ole Miss, Maine, Missouri, Alabama, LSU.
Yeah, you think I don't know my rival's schedule, Dick?
I don't know what the hell I'm looking at, but it says they play.
I'm talking about Tennessee?
Yeah.
They play Georgia.
I'm talking about OU.
OU.
Oh,
Tennessee, Alabama.
Tennessee don't even play Georgia.
Yeah, they play them November 16th.
They do.
They do play Georgia?
And they
Bama?
play
Tennessee,
they play Bama, Georgia.
They go Arkansas, Florida, Bama. Then they got to go play
Kentucky, Mississippi State, Georgia.
UTEP, then Vanderbilt.
OU's about to go 7-5. They're going to lose to Texas. They're going to lose to Bama. They're going to lose to LSU. If they played A&M, they would lose to A&M.
I don't know if they'll.
OU is not good.
I mean,
that defense is good. You can't say they're not good.
Texas will score 35 points on them.
They just held Tennessee to 25 points.
That's not ridiculous. The problem is that they can't score.
It'll be 35-7.
Yeah, okay. Texas has one of the best offenses in the country. They scored 5 touchdowns.
And one of the best defenses.
That's not really – I mean, they're not –
We might score 40. I don't know. I guess whatever Sark wants to do.
Their defense is the best they've probably ever had. The problem is it's probably Brent Venables and not knowing how to run an offense.
Who's their OC now that Levy left?
It's Seth Luttrell.
They promote somebody?
They just the play calling was kind of just they ran into the teeth of the front seven of Tennessee a lot, and I don't know. I just didn't know why they wouldn't try to throw some swing passes or try to get away from that front seven, and they just.
I think it was I think it was a little welcome to the SEC moment. I mean, did you see that hit on number 2 when he was running down the sideline?
He should have gotten out of bounds.
That was crazy. I mean, he was like on fours he was like all on fours on the sideline. Like you could tell he got the wind knocked out of him. But
but it I mean, 25-15. It could have been worse. It should have been worse. Garbage time touchdown. Like we just said, where does OU go from here? OU, they play Auburn this week. We'll get to that game later.
To Texas, they beat South Carolina. They get the doors blown off by Ole Miss. They beat
South Carolina's a for sure win.
There's
South Carolina on the road. Is that on the road or in Norman?
No, it's in Norman. They play at Missouri, which is Missouri's not good. They're not
as good as they're made out to be.
They're not the number 11 team in the country. Like Brady Cook's good. Obviously, Luther Burden is good, but nothing else is good about that team.
Most likely going to be at that game 2 weeks.
Eli Dinkowitz is just weird. So
might be the worst coach.
And then probably play a close game with LSU.
But Tennessee undefeated right now. They play Alabama in Knoxville. Yeah, they play them in Knoxville, and then they play Georgia at Georgia. I think they win one of those games. I think Georgia's probably more likely.
Yeah, they play them at Knoxville.
No.
I mean, Georgia and Madison.
Beating Bama at home is more likely than beating Georgia on the road. But I don't know. I'm not totally sold on Georgia. I mean, we'll get to that later in the Week 5 preview. But Tennessee has a potential to go on just a really big run. And with Nico, if he gets hot and the offense gets really hot, I mean, it's really hard to stop that offense. But anyway, next we go to the Friday night game, Nebraska at Illinois. We were totally wrong about this game. Illinois goes in and beats Nebraska in overtime by 7. Kind of a letdown from Nebraska coming off that win against Colorado. We know Colorado is not that good. I mean, or at least 3 of us know Colorado is not that good. Illinois just, hung with them, came back down 7, tied the game up, went to overtime, scored a touchdown, and then just pressured Raiola, won the game. I mean, it was a classic, win a big game, then lose the next one and have a big letdown.
Nebraska they kind of lost the game more than Illinois won it. I mean, in the fourth quarter, I think they were driving down the field with maybe a minute or 2 left, and all they had to do was kick a field goal. And they throw the ball, I think on second down, and then Raiola just misses. They do a play action, just misses like a wide open touchdown, and then they missed a field goal, and then they go to overtime. So I mean, they had their chances to win the game. Raiola played decent until the last drive of the game in overtime. I mean, in the overtime, I think it was like they didn't even get a first down. It was like 3rd and 35 because they had like 2 false starts and a sack or something.
Yeah, but, I mean, they sacked him on like 3rd and 30 or something like that.
I mean, I think Nebraska, I think people did get ahead of themselves a little bit, including us, I guess. But, I mean, I still didn't think they were like a playoff team in year 2 with Matt Rule. I think they're on the up and coming, but
if you put Dylan
quarterback's name, what's his name? The quarterback,
Ed Meyer.
Meyer.
No, at Nebraska.
Raiola.
His little brother committed to Nebraska this morning.
Yeah. Jackson Mahomes.
Dayton. His name is Dayton. Yeah.
Dayton Raiola. Jackson Mahomes does not play football. He
is on trial for harassment right now, but that's a different story. Anyway,
are you his legal defense?
I don't practice in Nebraska. I'm not licensed in Nebraska, nor will be licensed to practice in Nebraska. So no.
It's good to know.
I don't know, but let's pull up Nebraska's schedule. Where does Nebraska go from here? They got to play Ohio State soon.
Can you put it on the screen?
I mean, Dylan Raiola, he didn't look bad.
He didn't look bad until the very end.
I don't know. It was. I feel like if you pick up Dylan Raiola and switch him out for Jackson Arnold, OU beats Tennessee.
I think it's a game.
They play Purdue next week, Rutgers at Indiana, then at Ohio State. They will lose to Ohio State. At Nebraska at USC in November. Wow, what a matchup.
UFC will probably beat them.
What's in that recent search history?
Tennessee, Oklahoma, Pine Boys, Texas A&M, Bowling Green, Week 5 games.
Nebraska will lose at least 2 more games, so we're looking at 9-3 at the bare minimum. They play at Iowa to end the year. I think Nebraska is probably going to go 8-4.
7. Yeah, I'd say like 7 or 8. 7, 5, 8, and 4. Unless they just upset somebody, which they can, but
they won't beat Ohio State in the horseshoe.
No.
That won't happen. At USC,
they don't beat Rutgers.
They can beat Wisconsin probably.
They'll beat Wisconsin, I think. I think they have too much offense for Wisconsin.
They won't beat Rutgers.
I mean,
be a good game.
Whatever, but I saw a stat the other day. It's like Nebraska is 0-28 against the last 28 ranked teams they played.
Yeah,
they haven't been a ranked opponent since like 2001, 2008, something.
It was 2016 or.
That is unfathomable to me. Like, I've watched terrible, terrible Texas teams beat a ranked K-State or a ranked OU or pull an upset at least one when we're just terrible. But for them to lose that many one-possession games their fan base, my God, I cannot imagine being that.
They've sold out every game since like 1994.
First of all, that's a farce. One of those donors buys out 15,000 seats, so it's a sellout. But there's not actually a sellout. It's the most bullshit tradition or.
What do they do? Let them know like an hour before the game how many tickets they need to buy, and he just buys them up.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Does he give them out, or what's he do?
I mean, if there's 10,000 seats left, they buy 10,000 seats. Then it's a sellout.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Anyway, I think we're done talking about that game. One of the best game I saw on Saturday was USC Michigan. We thought USC would have too much offense for Michigan. In the first half, Michigan's defense looked dominant. They looked like they were shutting down the run. They were getting after Miller Moss. They were just creating havoc. USC could not move the ball. They were up, I believe. I mean, not Donovan Edwards, but Mullings Donovan Edwards had a big run. Then Mullings had another huge run. I believe it was 14-3 or 14-6 at half. USC moves the ball much better in the second half. Get some touchdowns, starts moving the ball. But the crazy thing is that USC pins Michigan back at their own 10-yard line with 3 minutes left. And Michigan cannot throw the ball. They had 32 yards passing. And Michigan's able to run the ball 90 yards into the end zone for a touchdown. 4th and goal with 45 seconds left. They punched it in to beat USC. And, I mean, if I'm Lincoln Riley, I don't know how it's possible when you know that they cannot pass the ball and you give up 90 yards for the go-ahead win.
Yeah, I took Michigan. It was a home game. It was a big game in the big house at home, noon kickoff, and I just, like I said in the previous show, Michigan had so much to prove with this game, and Lincoln Riley had USC had a lot to prove, but I just think Michigan, everybody was counting them out. They obviously can't. They've had a lot of quarterback problems. They can't throw the ball, but they can run the ball and they can play defense. Michigan's always been known to be able to pound the ball and play defense, and I thought this game was. It could have got out of hand. It could have went both ways. USC's offense is always, very powerful, but that Michigan defense it's always very strong, and I just had high hopes they were going to step up and win a big game. They needed that game big. It's a big game for the Big Ten. It was first game for USC in the Big Ten. So I think it's a big win for them. They got to figure out the ball.
Watching that game, I don't know if y'all watched the last drive, but Mullins runs the ball into the second level, and then he's got two USC defenders draped on him. He spins off of them and runs another 45 yards for a 63-yard gain inside the 20. And it's just it was kind of like typical Lincoln Riley, just being soft toward the end and just allowing the run to just beat him and be like death by 1,000 cuts. And
it epitomizes the difference between what you expect in Big Ten football and USC in the Pac-12. It was just man football, hat on a hat. He runs through two guys, and USC can't tackle in the end. And it's like, oh shit, okay, Michigan's about to win this.
And USC had held them to like 20 yards in the second half until that point.
USC
didn't play a bad game defensively, which credit to Lincoln Riley. They didn't play a bad game.
USC in the first half played a terrible game defensively. Orji can't throw the football, and they still when that, stack the box, make him throw it, and if you get beat that way, you live with it, and then go score the points on the other end. But they wouldn't do it at the beginning. They just kind of let them do what they wanted to do, and you can't do that. The kid's name's Orji. He threw for 30 yards, and it was so bad. How they lost that game is just wild, considering how fast they turned it around in the second half, because the answer was in front of them, and they just didn't do it in the first half.
I thought the game was over when Will Johnson jumped that hitch route for the pick six. I thought Michigan had that game. Then USC was able to create some offense, and they came back and ultimately were up. 24-20. And mind you, Michigan missed that PAT. They would have been down 3 anyway. Not that it mattered, but the fact that Michigan had 300 yards rushing and 32 passing is just. It's just, I cannot believe USC let that get away from them. Cannot believe it.
Yeah, I saw the stat. I watched bits and pieces of the game, but I saw the stat that he finished with 32 passing yards. I'm just like, how in the hell did they win the game? Like, just stack the box and make him throw the ball.
He couldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. That was pretty surprising to me. I thought USC would go in there and win it. But, like Trey said, it's kind of just welcome to the Big Ten moment, I guess. Run it down your face, and you can't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
What is it, East Coast versus West Coast type of offense.
I will give USC credit. Like, their defense looks much, much more improved than years past. And when Lincoln Riley was at Oklahoma, they couldn't stop a nosebleed or a cold when he was at OU, or even last year, the last couple of years when they had Caleb Williams. Michigan will be an 8-4 team, I think, or 9-3, purely because they are entirely one dimensional. They cannot throw the ball. You can't.
Who beats them? Like, they play Minnesota, they're gonna beat them. They play at Washington.
Michigan.
They like Oregon State and Ohio State. Oregon and Ohio State. That's pretty much it.
They'll lose to Illinois, I think.
You think Illinois beats them
on the road? They'll lose to Ohio State. They'll lose to. I'm not counting anything out. When you're a one-dimensional team, what if they just load 9 in the box and make you throw the? You can't just. I don't think you can say definitively that. Oh, that's at minimum 2 losses when you have an offense like Michigan.
You think that, and did they beat USC?
Does Michigan play Iowa?
No.
They'll lose to Oregon. They'll lose to Ohio State. I think they lose to Illinois. That's 4 loss. That's 8-4. I think they're probably going to go 8-4. USC.
Does that still get them in the playoffs, you think?
No.
Absolutely not. Michigan will not make the playoffs. Meanwhile, USC has to go. They play Wisconsin at home next week. I think that's a win. Minnesota on the road. I'll say that's a win. Penn State at home. I'm going to say that's a loss. On the road to Maryland, win. Rutgers at home, win. At Washington, win. Nebraska at home, win. At UCLA, win. Notre Dame at home, win. I think USC is probably going to make the play. I'll say right now on September 23rd, the USC will make the playoffs. Bold prediction. Write it down. I'm writing it down. Writing it down. David said.
So do you think they play in the conference championship?
I think it's feasible that USC could play Ohio State or USC Penn State. I mean, what my prediction was Ohio State Penn State. I say that, but I have them losing to Penn State. So what does it tell you about Penn State? I think USC is going to be USC will be in contention for the conference championship.
No. Iowa only has to play Ohio State. That's it.
Oh God, the Iowa Hawkeyes, who are the most legitimate conference champion contender ever.
They have Ohio State this week, and then they play Washington, Michigan State, Northwestern, Wisconsin, UCLA, Maryland, and in the season with Nebraska.
I can see some losses there. Maryland's not bad.
Yeah, I think Ohio State. I'd be pretty shocked if they weren't in there. But who's going to play them is the big question.
I don't know. Anyway, enough with that one. Michigan pulls off the upset. Jalen's the lone wolf here. Gets the bet. Credit to Jalen. Next, we go to Stillwater. The Utes pull off. By the way, for those looking, the spread is wrong. Utah was a 2-point favorite. Oklahoma State was a +2 favorite. Utah wins by 3 without Cam Rising. Kind of a pitiful performance from Oklahoma State. I mean,
I didn't watch the game. I thought he was supposed to play.
I thought it was too, but I was still going to take Utah. Alan Bowman's like a 7th-year starter. He played at Texas Tech when he was in the Big 12 against Texas. I cannot believe that Ollie Gordon is just a non-factor for their offense.
Said that Arnold's benched. They're starting the other kid.
What's that?
They've already announced that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he should start. Jackson Arnold's an absolute liability. But I digress. Oklahoma State, the way they used Ollie Gordon this season's, I don't know why. I mean, he ran rampant on the Big 12 last year. Why he's not getting more carries and only averaging, I think, less than 3 yards a carry is mind-numbing to me. I don't understand Oklahoma State. I mean, Mike Gundy always has a really good offense or good scheme, and for them to only put up 19 points, granted, Utah is a good defense. It's just disappointing. Kyle Whittingham's one of the better coaches in America. I just don't get why it's just such a blah offense.
Yeah, I didn't really get to watch. I barely watched any of this game. I didn't realize Rising wasn't playing until like after halftime, which I'm kind of glad because I might have changed my pick. But I mean, yeah, like you said, Ollie Gordon had 11 for 42 rushing yards.
It's disgusting. Like, you only give him 11 carries.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean,
last year they gave him 25, 30 carries.
I mean, the time of possession was like completely one-sided. I think Utah had the ball for 45 minutes.
Oh, Utah milked this thing. They just
it was 42 minutes to 17 for the time of possession.
I mean, here's another thing. I mean, Utah had 456 yards of offense to 285.
Yeah.
Guess how many rushing yards Oklahoma State had if you're not looking at it? 48 yards.
Do you still think that Ollie Gordon's the best back in the country?
No. I would say Ashton Genty is right now based on the way he's played.
He's averaging 10 yards a carry.
Jaden Blue's a better running back than Ashton Genty.
No.
Yes, he is. I mean, Ollie Gordon, I'm saying, than Ollie Gordon. I mean, Utah ran the ball for 250 yards, which kind of makes sense given the way that they can possess the ball for 42 minutes and 26 seconds to Oklahoma State 17 minutes and 34 seconds.
Well, also, your starting quarterback's out of the game. You're going to have to lean on the running game to do something. and Oklahoma didn't have an answer for it.
Yeah, but to only score 22 points, I think, with that amount of rushing, that is crazy to me.
Yeah, it wasn't even a close game. I mean, it was 13-3, and then I think Oklahoma State kind of came back a little bit in the fourth quarter.
Well, this was my Big 12 championship prediction, and I think Utah is solidly in the mix. I think Oklahoma State's down for the count. They play K-State next week. I think they will lose.
I think so.
We'll get to that later, but just kind of disappointed in the Pokes. I really thought that they would utilize Ollie Gordon and have a good year, and it's clearly going in the wrong direction.
Yep.
Any other thoughts on that game?
I didn't watch it. I'm just glad Utah won. I think Oklahoma State is screwing Ollie Gordon over. Video, because from the videos I've watched, they're not using him like they used him last year.
No, he got 25 to 30 carries last year. He was the workhorse.
So he had like 25 plus when I saw him. And I mean, Utah's running back had 25 carries for 182 yards. I mean,
I think when he got that DWI, he should have took his talents to Georgia, and he would have fit in perfect in their system both ways, and it'd have been the best thing for him.
Shit, his BAC that day is like his yards per carry nowadays. It's like 0.8.
Well, I mean, Mike Gundy, didn't he say his punishment was going to be handing the ball off to him all game or something?
Clearly not.
Clearly not. Yeah, I don't know what Mike Gundy's doing. Usually a pretty good coach, but
clearly not. But Oklahoma State goes down, fall to 3-1, 0-1 in conference play. Next, we go to the Fighting Billy Napiers beating the dog shit Mississippi State Bulldogs. Billy Napier cools his seat momentarily with a 45-28 win, I believe, over Mississippi State.
480 yards to Mississippi State.
What's that?
They had 480 yards of total offense.
Congratulations. You got to get your wins when you can.
No, the Mississippi State did.
Mississippi State had 480 yards on y'all.
Yes.
How many yards do y'all have?
I don't know.
Let me
look that up. But the Fighting Billy Napiers get a win for the first time in 2 weeks since they fought off the tenacious Samford Bulldogs. But Billy Napier, who do they play next week?
Trey, who do y'all play?
No, I don't even know.
I think they play BYE. So
BYE.
it's only a matter of time before Billy Napier.
Florida has a bye.
Yeah, that's what I just said. But
Florida had 503 offensive yards, and Mississippi State had 480. They had more first downs.
You gave up 480 to Mississippi State, who just got throttled by Toledo.
Yep.
I think Mississippi State might win 2 games this year.
I will raise my glass to Trey. Congratulations on the win. That may be your only SEC win. My thoughts and prayers are out to you, man. I'll be thinking about you when y'all play Georgia. Oh man, it feels good to be number 1 in the country. But but congrats on the win, dude. You earned it. I know you've been a big supporter of Billy Napier. I know you want him to be extended. I'm just throwing jabs for a response right now.
Yeah, they're fucking terrible.
Go ahead, Trey. The floor is yours.
I don't know what the answer is. They won, but it feels like a loss. Like I don't know if I want them to lose every game, so Billy Napier gets fired early. But everything I'm hearing is Scott Strickland's going to make the hire, and so that'll be another catastrophe waiting to happen. So I don't know. I just kind of want to sulk and not talk about it because they're stupid. I'm pissed off, and 480 fucking yards of offense to Mississippi State. 480 yards of offense.
Like, Scott Strickland, the guy that our guest was saying that didn't like Lane Kiffin?
Yeah, it's the AD of Florida.
He's a permanent AD. He's not going to leave too.
I would like him to leave, but the problem is they have an interim president that's come out of retirement to come back, and the board's already the board of trustees is trying to find a new president before the end of the year. But the problem is we need another football coach by the end of the year, and it's just it's a shit show. The football team is a shit show. Everything else is getting better. I say that everything that was there before Scott Strickland put his hands on it is doing great. And then there's I think I talked about it last week. Something where the wins of the coaches that have been hired by Strickland compared to the coaches that weren't, and it's just abysmal. I mean, it's worse than abysmal. It's laughable how fucking bad of just a program it is. It's so bad. I mean, they only had 2 incompletions in the game, which I guess is cool.
Were they interceptions?
No. But
Graham Mertz played pretty well.
Like I said, I don't give a fuck.
It's like putting a bow tie on a pig.
Yeah, I mean, it's like here it is. There's the record of coaches hired by Scott Strickland versus those he inherited. The ones he's hired are 200 and 193 and 11. So take that, and then that Strickland hasn't hired. Their records are 1,461 and 591. So it's like over a 70 winning record.
Is it? I'm trying to particularly thread the needle here. Is it Billy Napier? Is it the players? Is it the culture? Or is it a combination of all three? I mean, defensively, you're not good. Offensively, you seem to be struggling. It's just,
by all reports, the talent on campus isn't this bad. So it's got to come with the coaching. Like it is.
Well, we've heard that a lot before with similar reasons. Not going to be specific, but like people always say, you can't blame the coaches because they're not the ones out there playing. I disagree with that hardly. I think that, coaches are responsible for 90%. The player is responsible for 10 because, at the end of the day, you're putting these people in a position to win. And, it's all on you. It's like any other job. It's all on you. So I really think a head coach and, coordinators make a big difference in a team. I think if you put the right people in position coaching, that it does make a
Billy's a big staff guy. Like he's last year, I think he had the biggest staff in the country. Like as far as just people that are in the football building, whether they hold official titles or whatever they are, I don't know.
You can't tell me that Florida is struggling recruiting. You can't tell me they're struggling for money.
They shouldn't. That's the thing. And so
you have everything you need right there. You have
it all points back to it's got to be a coach and a culture problem. Because
who'd y'all land? Y'all landed DJ Lagway. Who else did y'all land? Like the biggest defensive player in the nation?
Like LJ McCray. We had at one point we had the number
Eugene Wilson.
Yeah.
What's the story on Cormani?
Who?
Cormani, the transfer from Colorado, like the big time DB.
Yeah, I mean he was committed to Florida, flipped, and then came back. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know his story. I haven't.
Let me read off Florida's the rest of their season. UCF at home, at Tennessee, Kentucky at home, Florida, Georgia, at Texas, LSU at home, Ole Miss at home, at Florida State. I think you're going to lose 7 of the next 8.
Yeah, I mean, they play like 4 top 10 teams.
You will not beat Tennessee. You will not beat Georgia. You will not beat Texas. You will not beat LSU. You will not beat Ole Miss. I think you probably – hell, Florida State, I have no idea. I think Kentucky will probably beat you. I think you may finish 2-10, 3-9.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. I mean, we think about Florida during the Urban Meyer day. I'm really not trying to kick you when you're down, man. I'm just trying to be realistic. I mean –
it'll give you that schedule will give you what you want at the end of it, and that's a different head coach. So you can look at it like that.
you play Murderers Row the last 6 games, and we thought Florida State was going to be one of those murderers, but they're terrible.
How many games did you say Billy needs to win to keep his job? 8?
Yeah.
8's
that
the
won't happen.
That
that is not going to happen.
No, it won't.
Because that would mean you have wins over Samford.
They got to win 6 of them.
That means you would beat UCF, probably beat Kentucky. LSU is – I could see you beating LSU at home, beating Florida State. You won't beat Texas. There's no way to 8 games. There is no way you can win 8 games with that schedule. I'm sorry, man.
There's no way. It's terrible.
But if you had to say right now, who is the next head coach at Florida?
Lane Kiffin.
I hope to God it's Lane Kiffin. I so hope it's not the guy from Liberty.
Jeremy Chadwell.
I keep seeing his name on like every hot board. It's like the 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Did y'all see what I sent from Message Board Geniuses, which you know is always true?
No.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin already wants the Florida job.
I mean,
Get that extension.
He's responding to random Florida Twitter accounts, so
it's one of those things that, yeah, like you said, Florida does not want to hire him, but it's
no.
Why would they not want to hire him?
Scott Strickland is come. The rumor is Scott Strickland doesn't like him. He didn't want to hire him. Everybody, everybody wants to hire Lane Kiffin.
Okay, I get that.
There's no reason you shouldn't want to hire him. There's nobody else to go get.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you on all that, but it's one of those things.
Lanning's not going anywhere. Shark's not going anywhere. Ryan Day's not going anywhere, which I don't.
Like I said, it's one of those things that, Florida can give him way more than what Ole Miss can give him.
Yeah.
Money wise, recruiting wise, facility wise, all of above, he can give him way more.
Yeah.
But it also boils down to he's going to bring a certain kind of swagger with him, and it's the swagger that Florida needs, that they're used to, and you have to accept it.
Yeah,
and I think he's changed a lot. Like, I really think he's changed a lot. I don't think he's boozing like he was. I don't think he's sticking his stuff in places he doesn't need to stick his stuff in places. I think he's changed a whole lot. Like, I think he's a whole different person. But I also think that he can change Florida's program around. Like, he can bring a different, mojo to Florida football. Like, he can get it back to what it used to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you bring up the mojos because everybody, the coaches that have been successful there, kind of have always rubbed people the wrong way and carried themselves in a kind of.
That's the kind of guy he is. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Well, and it's always there's an air of like arrogance around the coaches that have been good there, and that's kind of what we need. And I don't know who falls in that category. I just don't. There's no one like there's no Steve Spurriers out there right now. There's not and then there's no Urban Meyer.
I mean, you might have to just go find one. It's not gonna. I mean, you might just have to. I don't want to say another Billy Napier type hire, but not all those turn out to be.
From the reports and kind of the way the boosters are positioning it, they don't want they are not. No one wants a group of 5 hire. They want a proven guy from, the Power 4 that is going to get it done. And so, the obvious answer is Lane Kiffin because he's shown it. But Jalen was talking about, that kind of, attitude and kind of the way Lane operates. I saw someone talk about it. Is it going to be, can Florida fan bases stomach it? Because there's really bad this year. If they find some way to maintain or retain anybody that is worth anything in the transition after losing 10 games, which is probably going to happen, will be a miracle. A.k.a. DJ Lagway, LJ McCray, Trey Wilson, a bunch of people. But it's going to be really bad for the next probably 2 years.
Yeah, because if you wait for Lane Kiffin, he's gonna have to be. Everybody expects him to play off, so you're not gonna get any. You can't get any transfer players.
Yeah.
National Signing Day is gonna be gone. and you're going to fire your coach probably before the season's over. So you're going to have a whole recruiting class plus roster that are going to be tampered with.
You need to do a total rebuild. A total rebuild.
That's where it's can you stomach the Lane Kiffin antics in another 4-8 season? It's going to be.
I mean, shit. Texas did it. Sarkisian built that thing from the ground up. Went 5-7, lost to Kansas. I mean, total rebuild. Total rebuild the roster. I mean, I just don't know where Florida can go from here.
But that's the only place to go. Is up. They can't go any more down.
Yeah.
What we got next? Enough on Florida.
Arkansas Auburn in the toilet bowl. What an atrocious game. I tuned into this game and I watched 3 interceptions in the span of 5 minutes. Arkansas wins the game 24-14.
It was 7-0 all the way in like the third quarter.
Hugh Freeze throws the quarterbacks under the bus because he's a tremendous piece of shit.
You see Lane Kiffin's little comment towards him?
No, I did see where Bo Wallace, a former OC at former quarterback at Ole Miss, just went after Hugh Freeze and just said that he's just throws all of his players under the bus. Auburn is
Hugh Freeze.
Lane Kiffin at his press conference he didn't say it, but he was like, we're behind our players and how we recruit them, and if they have a bad game, we're gonna stick behind them. We don't throw them. Basically, just saying we don't throw our players under the bus.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, Auburn. These are it goes Mississippi State, Florida, Arkansas, and Auburn. That's how Vanderbilt's a better team than Arkansas and Auburn.
That is not true.
That's absolutely true.
Arkansas is better than Auburn and Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt's sneaky.
Are they? Is Vanderbilt better than Arkansas?
Vanderbilt might be better than Florida.
Well, that's not saying much. I'm not even being a hater. I'm just saying that's not saying much right now. Florida is terrible.
This game was atrocious. I have nothing to say about it.
I really don't give a shit about neither team except. Did you see that hit on the sidelines in the Auburn game?
That was a.
Did you see the Arkansas?
No, that was the Arkansas.
Quarterback did a kick to Bug's face while he was trying to run into him. That shit was wild. He tried to Antonio Brown him.
No comment.
I was just to say he Antonio Browned him.
No,
the
Auburn game, their safety hit the piss out of a kid from Arkansas, and y'all didn't see that?
No, I saw it. Yeah, he knocked his helmet off. It was this is just a battle of 2 shitty teams, and it makes it look really good because it's. They're both bad. I don't think Auburn's going to make a bowl game.
And I want to say something. I know it's not relevant because it was Texas versus ULM. It was crazy to watch Texas defense that close up. They got some guys all across that defense that can go. And, I know a lot of people had a lot of negative, they had a lot of, they were worried before the season about Texas, defensive line losing, Byron Nelson.
Byron Nelson was a golfer.
Byron Nelson. I'm thinking about Trophy Club. I'm looking at high school football on my computer over here. But, that defensive line is just freaking – it's nuts. And the linebacker core and the secondary.
We'll talk about that later. But, anyway, Arkansas and Auburn, the toilet bowl. Arkansas pulls it off 24-14. Florida State finally gets a win over Cal, 14-9. What a great thriller of a game. Arkansas, I thought Cal may pull it off, but Florida State hung in tough with the former Pac-12 team, the Cal Golden Bears, gets their first ACC win of the season. DJU continues to be one of the worst quarterbacks in the Power 4.
I heard he looked like shit.
He's terrible.
I didn't watch it, but I heard he looked like shit.
He's so bad. I digress. Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
No, I didn't watch the game.
That finally brings us to Baylor and Colorado. If y'all didn't watch this game, gentlemen, it was a thriller. Colorado's down 7.
We were walking to policies when I called you, and we literally got there at the perfect time. to get to watch the end of that game.
Yes. For those of y'all listening, Baylor is up 7 with 5 seconds left. Colorado throws a Hail Mary to the end zone, completes it for a touchdown, and then Colorado goes up 7 in overtime. Baylor almost punches it in at the 1 yard line for the tying touchdown in overtime, fumbles the ball into the end zone, and Colorado recovers for the win. And Dave Aranda should be fired for that performance right now because.
How much were they up at one point? I mean, I'll check the score once.
I don't care how much they were up 7 with 5 seconds left, and to play prevent defense and to not bat that ball down is just malpractice.
So are you still saying Shadur is not good?
Shadur is not good. That was by the grace of God to win that game.
I think he's good. I mean,
well, by the grace of God, you should fire a coach?
Yes, Dave Aranda should have been fired last year. And this has huge implications for our bet with Jalen about bowl eligibility, too.
Did you hear what he said about the defense he called on that Hail Mary? It was called
the Victory Cigar.
Yeah, the Victory Cigar.
Yeah, the Victory Cigar.
He said that after the game?
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Why would you say that? But,
being honest.
Yeah, a wild game. I wish I'd have watched it, but saw the highlights. It looked crazy.
But bets of the week, I go 6-4. Jalen goes 7-3. Cole goes 7-3, and Trey goes a whopping 2-8. Kind of almost like how the Florida Gators will be later this year. But anyway, we move on. I've got a couple of games written down for next week. Does anybody want to guess where we're going to start?
Georgia and Bama.
The Bulldogs go into Tuscaloosa and play the Crimson Tide. Currently, Alabama is a 1.5-point dog. So, for our purposes, we'll have Georgia minus 1.5. Cole, we're going to start with you.
I'm going to roll with the Dogs until they lose. Bama's looking like they're getting kind of back on track. I still got some questions. But I think Georgia is going to be too much for them on the ground. And I think it's going to be a great game, though. I hope it is. I think it's the biggest game so far of the year. And, yeah, I think the Dogs go in and win in Tuscaloosa and remain atop the SEC.
You think they get revenge from the SEC championship last year?
Yeah, I think Kirby, even though it's not Saban, Kirby, don't forget, I think we'll have one of them pregame speeches. They turn all the cameras off and he says some crazy shit. And I think
they're gonna reckless drive all the way back to Athens.
They might. They might. But yeah, I got the Dogs by what'd you say? -2?
-1.5.
Yeah. So basically a pick 'em. So -1.5 Dogs.
Jalen.
Give me the Tide.
You just copied Pat McAfee.
Give me the Tide.
At least be original.
I don't think Georgia handle the athleticism of the Alabama Crimson Tide. I think that Alabama's going to beat the piss out of Georgia. I think everybody's going to finally realize why Carson Beck is not a top 5 quarterback in college football. This is my opinion. But I don't think Georgia is what everybody makes them out to be. I think they're a great defensive team. I think that their offense is not that good as everybody makes it out to be. I don't think Carson Beck is the guy. I think you put Jalen Milroe on the Georgia Bulldogs, they beat the shit out of Bama. But
what?
I'm rolling with the Tide. It's my opinion. Give me the Tide.
By how much?
14.
How many games have we lost the last 3 years? 1?
1.
So.
Give me the Tide.
Big DeBoer guy.
I think Georgia does have the best defense in the country, I think, statistically. Their offense is suspect. I think Bama has taken a little bit downgrade on defense, but
Kentucky held them to what, 17 points?
They've played Kentucky for the past 3 years.
I think Jalen Milroe's legs is going to be the difference in this game. I think Alabama is going to win by 7. I'm going to call it 26-17 Bama, the Tide win, and ascend to number 1 in the country.
I just think it's a hard win for a year 1 coach like that, but I mean, I could be wrong.
I don't know. I really don't. Like, if I was going to take a bet in this game, I would take the over. I wouldn't touch either of them. Because
what's the over at?
48.5.
Oh, yeah.
So I would take that over.
Under.
Huh?
Under. I could see this being like 7-3 at half.
Yeah, it won't be.
I can see that.
I don't think so.
No, it won't be.
It's going to be a great game no matter what.
I think the difference is going to be let's think about this. I mean, I think both of the teams have great offensive lines. Milroe versus Beck. I'm taking Beck's a better passer. Milroe's a better improviser. Offensively as a unit, I think Bama's better. At home is a factor, and Bryant Denny, that's going to be a loud crowd. I was there last year when the Longhorns beat them by 10. Not to toot my own horn, but I am. I think it just depends. What it's going to come down to is Jalen Milroe going to take care of the ball? Like, I could see Milroe throwing 2 or 3 picks easily.
Yeah. No,
easily.
If he does that, they're losing the game.
Of course. I just think this is Milroe's time to shine. I think Bama wins.
Yeah.
But Trey's going what?
Are
you going to cop out and take the over under?
No, you got a big spread.
Well, I'm rolling with Georgia.
Okay, me and Jalen against Cole and Trey.
Hey, if all those fans and followers we have out there, if anybody comes around some tickets to the game in Tuscaloosa, just send them our way. We'd be more than willing to get on a plane and head to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Actually, I think we should road trip it. We get tickets, we're road tripping it.
I road tripped to Tuscaloosa last year and it ended up well, so that would end up well for my Bama game.
If somebody called or texted or emailed us Friday and said we got 4 tickets for you guys, but you have to show up to get them before we'll give you proof, would y'all trust them?
No.
I'd do it.
Well,
you be in Tuscaloosa, Alabama by yourself.
I'd have a blast.
Anyway, I take Bama. J1 takes Bama. Cole and Trey take Georgia. We'll see. Is that prime time or is that 2:30?
No, I would assume it's prime time.
Prime time, okay.
It's 6:30 kickoff.
Yeah.
Next, we go to Oklahoma State at Kansas State. I'm going to go ahead and take the ball here. K-State just got destroyed by BYU.
Yeah.
I think K-State comes out pissed off. Oklahoma State, as we just mentioned, they don't give Ollie Gordon the ball. Alan Bowman's not very good. Gundy is not scheming up anything offensively. I like K-State to cover. I believe it's -6, and I will take K-State -6. At home in Manhattan. I have no confidence in Oklahoma State.
I'm gonna take Oklahoma State +6. Kansas State, they beat Arizona and had a really close game with Tulane. It's not a bad squad, but I think Oklahoma State's going to come out. I mean, they're pissed too, by the way they lost last week. I'm going to take them to cover. I think K-State might win the game, but I think it's going to be by a field goal at the most.
What did you say the spread was at?
6.
6.
So I'm gonna go the Pokes +6. The mullet comes back.
As bad as I don't want to do this, I'm taking OK State.
Why do you do that?
The curse of death, the kiss of death, Cole. Any explanation, Jalen?
Dude, BYU beat the shit out of Kansas State.
That happens when you play in the Big 12. You know,
Look,
I mean,
yeah,
I lived it for 26 years. You know, the Big 12 tough conference. You know, you got people coming in there, and Jalen, you would know. You only been a Texas fan for 2 years.
Okay.
And playing in the Big 12, it's dog eat dog. You can go on the road and lose. I mean, it's just how it is. You wouldn't know.
I knew this day was coming. 2010.
You want me to show you a picture from 2018?
No, we don't have to do that. That was a lost time in my life. I will admit that. I made a horrible decision in life.
I think you're a fan of about 7
years. College Station. It was a horrible time in my life. I was going through a midlife crisis at a young age.
You can't take it back, though.
You can't take it back. You can own up to it. And you can't run from it. You got to own up to it.
I wore a Texas shirt this weekend. That doesn't mean I'm a Texas fan.
Yeah, but he switched allegiances. You didn't.
Yeah.
I never
was.
Were you not an A&M fan when you were living in College Station?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I was a Florida fan.
But you were still an A&M supporter.
When they played, and it wasn't against Florida, I was there, so I supported them.
With an A&M shirt on.
Yeah.
It's just part. It's part of living.
That's
there.
entirely.
It's part of living there. It's part of living there. It just flips with your head.
No. So if we do want to reference 2018, what game were we at, and what shirt were you wearing?
Shit happens.
Yeah, we were.
That's a little far.
It was the West Virginia played Texas in Austin.
I made a terrible mistake in life. I made a terrible mistake in life. I did. I own up to it.
You're just a bandwagon.
It's not a bandwagon. It's just
he is. He's bandwagoning that son of a bitch.
I made a terrible mistake in life. I own up to it.
You can't take it back, dude.
He doesn't face adversity as a fan.
You have to live with the past.
He doesn't like to face adversity as a fan, David.
I just admitted to it.
I faced it. I've been in the trenches.
Yeah.
With Charlie Strong, with Tom Herman, Sarkeesian. I've been in the trenches.
Yeah.
Cole has too.
We've been in this shit since birth.
With Sherman. Yeah, exactly, Cole. Since the Eastern Lake days, when AM was bad, when Texas was bad, the Sherman days, the Sumlin days.
I made a terrible mistake in life. I was friends with a bad influence for a long time, and it just.
No, I remember the day Jalen called me and said he was an A&M fan.
I know it was during the Johnny. It was the Johnny game versus Alabama.
Yeah, I think it was the Kenny Hill versus Arkansas.
No, it wasn't that game.
Yeah, I swear to God.
It was Johnny.
He's like, I'm an A&M fan now.
It was Johnny. Yeah, shit happens.
It's disgusting.
It hurts. It hurts. It's a painful.
It's shameless. That's what it is.
It's hurtful. It's very hurtful.
Shame. Have you no shame?
Have you no shame?
What do you want me to do? Like, what do you want me to do? You want me to
go in the bathroom, go say 5 Hail Marys, go pour some holy water on your ass, and pray to God for forgiveness. That's
I'm not doing that shit. I'm scared of the dark. But yeah.
What game are we going to now?
What did Trey pick on Oklahoma State, K-State?
I'm taking Oklahoma State. I can't trust you. Get beat that bad by BYU.
What's wrong with you people? Don't you know that I'm right? Don't you know this is a bounce back game for K-State? God,
it could be a bounce back game for the Pokes too.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. And Ollie Gordon.
What happens? Mike Gundy figures it out. It does give Ollie Gordon the ball 25 times.
Ollie Gordon gets 10. I'm gonna drink some wine. Next, I bet
you get it to Ollie Gordon at least.
Did you go from bourbon to wine?
Yes.
You're gonna feel like shit tomorrow.
You look like shit tomorrow. Next, we go to the Fighting Texas A&M Aggie.
I can finally answer your question now. We're having lasagna tomorrow.
Against Piggy. Arkansas.
Sam Pittman Piggies.
One fat white man versus another fat white man. A&M is
Elko is very ton. Like
one's got a One's got a rack and one's got a fucking
No. We need to settle this first. Who is fatter? Is it Sam Pittman or is it Mike Elko?
Well, Elko's fat in the gut, and then Pittman's fat in the.
Elko's got a cranium.
He's got a head on him.
The man's got a head.
Like Pat McAfee said, he's got a big head, big ideas. But what's the spread out right now? It's moving.
Currently,
I got -3.5.
We'll go -3.5. Cole, your team, you start us out.
The big shocker. I'm gonna take the Eggs -3.5. I think it's gonna be a close game. It's been since we've been to the SEC, we're like 11-1 versus Arkansas, but it's like a one-score game every single year.
Who y'all starting at quarterback?
Probably Reed. Who
I did see today where a depth chart was released, and I think Weigman may have been QB1.
They did that last week. It doesn't really mean much. I think they still say week to week. I think the injury is more than it is, what they're saying.
Is it a shoulder?
Yeah, it's a stolen shoulder AC joint or something. But I would go with Reed. But speaking of the game, I think it's going to be a close game. Bobby Petrino going against the Aggies again. They got a good offense. Now, if they turn the ball over, I think they're like 10th in the nation in yards per game or something. The quarterback can really run the ball. His throwing is a little off and on. He turns the ball over a little bit.
Did they bench Taylon Green last week?
They did, but they brought him back in. I think they benched him for like 2 series. Some people say
he threw a pick or two, didn't he?
Yeah, but he can run the ball like crazy.
I got a question. Has anybody heard anything about the kid from Arkansas that played pro baseball, that plays receiver? Is he doing anything?
He's playing a little bit.
No, is he playing good? Like, I haven't heard anything.
You haven't heard anything. So he playing too good or too bad. So
let Cole finish.
Yeah, just cut me off right there.
I
think A&M bounced back to the Bowling Green game and squeaks out a dub, going 4-1 into the Mizzou game next week, which I'm probably going to be at the game. So I pray to God that we win this week. So yeah, I think it'll be another Southwest Classic. The last game in Jerry World, thank God, it's about to go back to home and home. So.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, finally.
That's badass.
So A&M -3.5.
I tend to agree with you. I don't really think it particularly matters which quarterback starts. I think A&M is going to lean on the run game. I think A&M may force some turnovers with Taylon Green, but I think their defense is good enough to stop the run. I like it probably like 31-17 game, A&M. I just think that I could see it going either way. I could see it being close in the fourth quarter. Like, I've watched this game for the last 12 years. It's always they go to overtime half the time.
Yeah.
But I think the Aggies are going to lead in the run game. I'm assuming Marcel Reed starts the game, makes plays on his legs, hits a deep shot or two. I think the Aggies win by 14. I'm going to say 31-17.
That's more than I think. I think we win by like 7 or 3 points. 4, but
I'm going to take Arkansas.
Shocked.
I really think Arkansas is a great offensive team, and I think if they can keep the ball in their hands and run the ball well, let the quarterback use his legs, and minimize the interceptions, I think that they can squeak this game out. I think A&M is a great defensive team. I didn't watch
their defensive line. Like, as a Texas fan, their defensive line is good.
Great, and I told Cole that,
but the secondary can be a little suspect.
I told Cole that on the show we did at the Notre Dame game that their defensive line looked amazing, but I just think that offensively they're going to struggle. And I think Arkansas is going to squeak this game out. I'm not saying they're going to beat them by 2 touchdowns or anything. I think it's going to be a touchdown or a field goal game, like Cole said. But I just think that if A&M has a true quarterback, they win by 2 touchdowns.
A quick note: I will say, if Marcel Reed is under pressure, I doubt that I saw a stat last week. Is like Marcel Reed was 1 of 9 under pressure.
Yeah, I mean, he missed some throws last week, but Florida, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he can create with his legs too. That's why
against Bowling Green. Like, this is just my honest opinion. You struggle at home against Bowling Green. Like, Arkansas has a chance to have a field day.
I mean, they also was beating Penn State at halftime and lost by 7. But I mean, they have games like that. I mean, I hope it could mean something. It also could be a wash, to be honest. I think they just didn't get up for that game. We didn't talk about it, but I think it was just an ugly game.
That they didn't talk about it at the end.
I didn't watch one down of that game. I didn't watch a single down. I just heard a lot about it, and I saw a couple clips about it. I don't know what happened. I didn't watch any of it. I just saw that A&M, Bowling Green blocked the punt in y'all's red zone, I believe.
Yeah.
And, like, that's all I've really heard about it. I just heard that A&M looked like shit offensively. I heard the defense didn't look great either.
In the second half, no, they didn't. But
so, I don't know much about the game. I just, from the bits and pieces I've seen this season, I just think it could go. That game could, it could either get out of hand or it could be a close game.
I think A&M forces some turnovers. I mean, watching Arkansas play against Auburn, them just throwing picks like it was nobody. I think A&M is going to force some
Auburn's
turnovers.
Secondary is really good though.
Who do they have in their secondary? Don't you dare say Jaron Thompson. Jaron Thompson's a liability, but Trey.
Yeah, A&M wins this football game.
Yeah. I think A&M wins this game comfortably.
What's Fred think?
Dad,
can we get a special guest pick?
Do you think A&M beats Arkansas?
No.
He said no.
True hater at heart.
I could guess that one.
Dad is a hater.
Respect that.
But Trey's going to go A&M -3.5.
I think we're able to run the ball against them and control the ball. And Marcel makes a couple throws and extends some drive with the leg. That's what he's extended some plays, especially I don't think we have the playmakers like a wide receiver that we need to actually get some good separation with his legs. He can create a little bit. So I think we squeaked around.
I think Arkansas is going to turn the ball over and A&M is going to capitalize, and they're going to lean on the defense and be able to run the ball. But
let's hear Trey's opinion on the game.
They beat Arkansas 9 more
times. Next game, Louisville.
What were you saying?
Hugh Freeze just said on Auburn Sports Network, or Tiger Talk, he said, I'm telling you, the hard truth is if we play Arkansas 9 more times, we'd beat them 9 more times. And that's what's hard to take.
Well, Hugh Freeze also is just the biggest piece of shit that's ever lived.
So I just got one more question for you, Cole. If Connor gets healthy and comes back and Marcel Reed somehow wins this game, do y'all stick with Marcel Reed, or is it like a discussion that has to go on?
There is no reason.
I mean, in my shoes, yeah, I would stick with the guy you just won 3 games with, but I think they would do that. I mean, Elko's already said it's going to be a game time decision each game for the rest of the year. So
is Weigman out? You think he's going after this?
University of Michigan quarterback Connor Weigman.
I could see it.
Depends.
Oh my God, Connor Weigman would cook at Michigan. He would cook at Michigan.
He just can't stay healthy. I wish he could. I wish we could actually see what he can do, but hey, the best ability is availability.
Next game, we go to South Bend, Indiana. Louisville against Notre Dame. Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. They beat the shit out of Purdue by 59, I believe. Honestly, I have no idea. I don't watch Louisville. I have Notre Dame. It's a ranked matchup. But I will take the Cardinals here. I'm taking Louisville here because
Louisville's ranked 15.
Yeah.
Louisville's ranked. Yeah, I will take the Cardinals because I despise Notre Dame. Number 16 and number 15 Louisville against number 16 Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a 6.5-point favorite. They played Miami of Ohio close last week in the early quarters. They lost Northern Illinois. I don't think they're very good.
What was the final score of that?
28-3.
like 28-3 or whatever. I will take Louisville plus 6.5.
Close game.
Yeah.
It started out like that, but yeah, no, it wasn't.
I'll go ahead and take Louisville. I don't know much about them, but Notre Dame barely got a Cal Phil. They go get beat by Northern Illinois, and who did they play last week? They struggled with
Miami of Ohio.
They won 23.
I thought they were struggling. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
It was 7-3 for a long time against
I just
Miami of Ohio.
What I read on Twitter Saturday. I didn't watch it, but I think Louisville's. I'm not even gonna sit here. I haven't watched any Louisville football, but from what I've read and the few clips I've seen, they look pretty decent.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm looking at Louisville. They beat Georgia Tech 31-19 last week. They're playing in South Bend.
Yeah, in South Bend.
Trey, you want to go first? Because I did not know.
Yes. Do I want to go?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Notre Dame. Louisville was outgained in that game against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech just couldn't score in the red zone. Notre Dame, and it's handed. They win. They win. I'll give up the 6.5 points.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Notre Dame minus 6.5 at home. But I think it's gonna be close to that, like 7 points for 10.
Yeah.
Just because they can run the ball pretty good, and yeah.
Okay, well, you guys just fucking suck.
I haven't watched down Louisville ball.
We didn't talk about this game. We didn't plan to talk about this game, but want to give a big shout out to our guy Manny King. Clemson looked good.
Clemson did look good. I took Clemson minus 20.5, unlike others on this show.
Yeah.
Clemson, something, I don't know what's gotten into Clemson since the Georgia game, but they are scoring.
It was like 28-0 at the start of the second quarter, I think.
Yeah, and
I was like, oh, God.
Clemson does play Miami, right?
Didn't he say they don't? Pretty sure he said they don't.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, if Clemson keeps on keeping on, I could see Clemson pulling an upset and possibly getting into the playoff.
Yeah, they don't play Clemson.
They don't play Miami.
They'll see.
They don't play Miami.
No.
What does Clemson look like the rest of the year?
They play Louisville. That's it.
Well, we marked in Notre Dame after week 2 against A&M and looked how that turned out. But I mean, Clemson is scoring 50 points a game since they beat or they lost to Georgia. So Clemson could beat Miami for the ACC championship and be a top 4 seed in the playoff. I'm saying could. It's possible, but
Miami's good.
One game we didn't talk about real quick is James Madison beat North Carolina 70-50.
Beat the shit out of North Carolina.
yeah, and Mac Brown said, I'll resign after that game. Mac Brown, let me say this.
But then he came back and said that he was going to be there Monday. So
I don't know what – I mean, Mac Brown left Texas. I mean, Mac Brown was forced out of Texas 11 years ago, went to the booth, and then he went back to North Carolina, who we hired him from. Then he went back to North Carolina, and he had Sam Howell. They played A&M in the Orange Bowl. They had Drake May.
he had some success at first.
North Carolina is nothing more than a 10-2 at best team.
Hey, quick question, David. Manning wants to know what his record was.
He went 1, 2, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 5-2, 6-2, 7.
Don't tell me he
7-3, 7-3.
He tied.
He tied with us three.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mac Brown it's the end of his career. Like he will not be the head coach of North Carolina next year. He needs to retire. His heyday was back in the 2000s at Texas. He's not. North Carolina is not a program that's going to compete for national titles. The best they're ever going to do is win an Orange Bowl, win the ACC. They're never going to. they don't have the talent pool. They're dominated in the Southeastern Conference by Georgia, Florida, Alabama, South Carolina.
That's a good thing in the ACC.
It's just, well, yeah, but like they're getting recruits taken from them. Mac needs to retire and just hang it up.
Yeah. But that was a shock.
You think he's actually going to be done? He's going to go somewhere and do something.
No,
Mac's too old. Mac. I love Mac to death. Mac brought us a Heisman Trophy winner, Ricky Williams. Mac brought us back with Vince Young, won the national title, beat USC, brought us to another national title against Alabama. I mean, Mac Brown did for Texas that Mac Brown is a legend at UT, and I love Mac Brown, but he's 75 years old.
73.
Mac Brown needs to retire.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway,
We got next.
love you, Mac. But next we go to the Plains, where the Oklahoma Sooners played the Fighting Hugh Freezes on the road. OU is a 2-point favorite against Auburn,
Wow.
and
I
Is
thought
there a reason we're talking about that game?
what?
So is there a reason we're talking about that game?
What else? What other game you want to talk about?
Illinois, Penn State.
Illinois and Penn State. What's the spread?
Penn State minus 18. But Illinois is 4-0, 1-0 in the Big Ten, and ranked number 19.
Is it in Happy Valley?
Yeah.
University Park, Pennsylvania.
Happy Valley.
Let's talk about OU Auburn first. This will go quick. I am going to take OU. OU's defense is too much for Auburn's offense. Not that they have an offense, not that OU is an offense. This is going to be an ugly game. I think OU is going to win 20-10.
Yeah, I think OU wins by way more. Yeah, about 7 or 10, maybe 14. I think their defense is going to make Auburn's quarterback throw at least 2 picks, whichever 2 they put out there. And you could call it a bounce back, but I guess Auburn's pretty bad. I just don't see Oklahoma losing that to Hugh Freeze. And Hugh Freeze is on, I want to say the hot seat, but it's starting to get a little questionable.
Who are we talking about?
OU Auburn.
Just take OU and move on. Auburn's.
Yeah, I'll take OU.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody takes OU. Okay. SMU, Florida State. Florida State at SMU. SMU minus 5.5. I'm taking the Mustangs because I will not trust Florida State the rest of the season. They beat Cal. Whoop-de-doo. Cal is far less talented than SMU. DJU is one of the worst quarterbacks in the Power 4, and I'm going to take SMU minus 5.5.
I'm going to go with the Mustangs. They're playing in Dallas with a home field environment like that. No, I'm just playing. But I think they win by a touchdown. And Florida State goes to 1-4.
I'll take SMU.
Yeah, I'll take SMU, but fuck that game. I mean,
Okay. What was the last game you want to talk about?
the only other ranked matchup this week, it's Penn State, Illinois.
Didn't we just talk about that one?
No. We moved on to OU Auburn. It's the end of September. I'm ready to talk baseball.
What?
Two.
Astros are about to lock up a playoff chance.
I'm going to take Illinois plus 18.5.
I'll take Penn State.
You really like Brett Bielema, huh?
18.5 is a lot of points. If you play defense for long enough.
It's 18 flat.
18 flat?
Yeah.
Okay. Jalen takes Penn State.
I'm taking Illinois plus 18.
I'll take Penn State.
It's too many points.
I don't think so.
Do y'all think that Trout's leaving the Angels?
No, we're not done. No, we're not done with
Yeah, we're not done with
We're not
college
done.
football.
We're not done.
What else?
Shut your ass up. Shut your ass up. The K-State burrito guy.
Oh God.
We got to talk about this, man.
He said Saturday at 6:30. He's shoving it
There's
up.
no way he does it.
He's already.
For
He's already.
context for those listening, the guy that said if Florida State loses to, was it Boston College? Was it Boston College or Memphis?
It was Georgia
That's
Tech.
BYU.
It was the first game of the season.
K-State guy?
No, K-State's BYU.
Oh, Florida State. Yeah, they lost to Boston College.
No, it was Boston College.
It was Boston College.
He said if Boston College, if Florida State loses to Boston College, I'll eat dog shit out of a red Solo cup with a spoon. Now we have a Florida State guy saying if K-State loses to BYU, he'll shove a beefy 5-layer burrito up his ass. He has since followed through with his promise on Twitter. He has announced a time in which he will consecrate his promise, and we'll see what the Twitter world has to say about that. I mean, it's I don't know. I guess you got to put it in the freezer.
Did you see the video? I was about to say, you put it in the freezer. Wouldn't that be worse?
On Sunday.
I don't know.
Ugh!
I don't know, man. I don't know, but on another note, Sonny Dykes got ejected from the TCU SMU game.
Who?
Sonny
TCU
Dykes, the TCU coach.
Yeah, how did he get ejected? I saw that, but I never.
It was a
Kicked out.
TCU returned a kick, and the flag was thrown like 15 yards behind the runner on a block in the back when it was inconsequential. And Sonny Dykes lost his mind, and he got ejected. His second unsportsmanlike. TCU is a rotting corpse of a program. They will not compete, and they traded that 2022 season for a lot, so I don't really give a shit. But Arch Manning threw 2 picks. One pick was deflected. One was a bad decision, but otherwise, I think Arch had a fairly, a good first game. It was against ULM, but good starting experience for him against ULM. We may need him later in the year when Ewers possibly goes down, but that's all I have to say.
Yeah, that is all he's gonna say. I'm done talking about Texas and college football. Like it's in the end of September. It's baseball. Like there's 6 playoff spots locked up. And Sonny Dykes getting kicked out of a football game. Don't really care. As it sits, the Astros should clinch tonight. Who do you think wins the World Series? Does anybody care?
The Yankees.
I have no idea.
Oh God! I mean, we're having
Astros.
the best player to probably ever live by the time he retires or dies, whatever happens. Shohei Ohtani. He's having the best career. Best
Reed
season.
Hensley?
Huh?
Reed Hensley?
No, we'll get to Reed in a second. One of his old teammates just got called up by the Tigers. He was making a push for the wild card spot in the AL. I mean, there's so many storylines in baseball that's going on right now. 2 of the best pitchers, could win the Triple Crown in Chris Sale and Tariq Skubal. They're 1-2 in wins, 1-2 in ERA, 1-2 in Ks, and there's only 4 Ks apart from each other and 1 win.
Look how David's looking.
I mean, there's so much going on in baseball because it's the end of the season. Bobby Witt Jr. is gonna. If Aaron Judge is never born, Bobby Witt Jr. has 2 MVPs right now. It's crazy.
Wait, Trey, give me your top 3 Heisman Trophy guys right now.
The top 3 Heisman Trophy.
No, who are the top 3 favorites for the Heisman Trophy?
Ashton Genty, Carson Beck, and Jalen Monroe after he beats Carson Beck.
Jalen.
But so
no, you're done. No more baseball.
I'm not done. I'm not talking about college football for an hour and a half when there's literally playoff baseball happening right now. I mean,
No, it's not. We still got a week or 2.
no, you have this week. That is it.
But if we get that Florida's not doing good this year, but
Yeah, Florida's not doing good.
playoff baseball haven't started yet.
I've accepted.
Let's give our Heisman picks. So you can talk about
There's a
college
random
football.
34-year-old that's second in the league in quality starts this year. Just happens to be in a contract year in Seth Lugo. I mean, what?
I know.
97 to 95. It's baseball.
Hold on. Cole, top 3 in your Heisman right now.
Cam Ward. Ashton Genty. How do we say the name? Genty. And Nico from Tennessee.
I'm going to go Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Jalen
I almost put
Milroe.
Travis in there too, but I don't know if Colorado's going to win enough games.
Jalen, who's your pick?
Travis Hunter,
Shador.
Jalen Milroe, and I guess Nico.
Anyway, but
Where'd Trey go?
Go Trey to come back. We need to take a picture. But do we have anything else to talk about?
I'm taking the spot.
I got nothing else to talk about, really.
You want to watch a funny video?
Yeah.
Talking about the fried liver burrito guy. You see that, David?
Oh, my God. Scroll up.
Saturday, 9/28.
Oh, no. Oh, no. That's terrible.
Look at his header now. Look at his Twitter. You see, that's when he put it in the freezer.
Who's going to record him doing this? The dog?
And it's on his burner account, so he can't show his face. You gotta be like in his Taco Bell bag above his. But if he doesn't do it, they're cursed, just like Florida State.
I don't know where Trey went, so
Let's kick it for the night.
big shout out to all our followers and subscribers. Please go follow, subscribe, all our social media pages. It means a lot to us. Thank you to everybody that tunes in and watches our show, actually. We appreciate you guys, and have a great night.
Adios.